Explained by the Billy Meier contacts. Mysteries, myths, legends, conspiracy theories, historical inaccuracies, and more. Compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Atom subatomic particle proton-neutron quark standard model. Contact Report 008.
Material is a palpable idea. It is a solid form of energy that is palpable.
That is commonsensical, but how does material come into being?
The principle is very simple. However, I'm not allowed to tell it. However, it is a fact that any energy can be converted into solid forms. It is only necessary to highly focus and highly concentrate the respective energy, whereby it can be converted into solid material. In this way, the elementary building blocks of the solid substance of the material are created: neutron, proton, and electron. From these, the atoms and the variety of the chemical compounds form, which then, in their 3-3, different states of aggregation, form the solid external casing, which is nevertheless known to your scientists. Solid material as well as your kind of energy are in every respect of equal value. That is to say that kind of energy is absolute material, just as kind of material is absolute energy. That means that without exception, anything in the universe consists of material or energy. The two terms, energy and material, represent fundamentally one and the same, but they specify their two different forms, the coarse substantial and the fine fluidal. Coarse substantial means material, fine fluidal means energy.
Well and right, but that does not explain my question. Because I want to know how material does fundamentally come into being.
From the energy, of course.
You are not being precise enough. I think that prior to the energy, something else is probably a decisive factor, because as far as I know, two factors each forming a oneness in itself always need to come together in order to result in a oneness again.
Material is the embodiment of an idea. As energy, material is fine fluidal, and as mass, it is just highly concentrated and condensed. Both types can be produced by apparatus, which you two are already practicing in various forms. Normally, however, they are produced completely naturally, namely through spiritual power, which is preceded by the idea. Fundamentally, the creation is responsible for this, a tremendous spiritual form, a factor that, in turn, embodies kind of energy. It is from the creation that the idea arises. The power of the spirit which, in turn, embodies energy, then condenses and concentrates the idea into fine fluidal energy, which is then condensed by even greater concentration into the coarse substantial, into the material.
Then the whole universe with all the trimmings is actually only an idea condensed and concentrated into the fine fluidal and coarse substantial energy?
Sure.
What then is this tremendous spiritual form, the creation factor?
The creation consists of an idea in the creation, condensed in the creation to the kind spiritual energy. We also do not know more about the creation.
Then you do not really know more than I do in this regard.
That is so, because when a life form is able to reveal this secret, it becomes part of the creation as such.
Contact Report 070.
In the last contact report, I covered up the question and your answer, on advice. The question was how many atoms a molecule contained. Your answer was that the answer to this question, in this form, could lead to misunderstandings, but then you said that a molecule contained 49 atoms. Unfortunately, I could not find the questioner now, so I cannot refine the question for you and do not know what, in actual fact, to ask. Therefore, I would like to ask you now to give me an explanation for your answer, because in the meantime I have been told that the different molecules, of which I also do not know what they are, have different numbers of atoms. So, my question goes like this. What did you describe with your answer? Which molecule is it that contains 49 atoms?
I feared that, but I can give you the answer. The molecule I have mentioned is, according to your concept, the primary or first molecule of the materializing spirit mass, or spirit energy. This molecule contains 49 atoms, of which only a few are known to earthly science. Fundamentally, it is to be explained here that the Earth scientists are on the wrong track in the designation of the atoms, because what they designate as under the atoms are not atoms. These themselves are from a certain level no longer of a purely material nature, but intermediaries between coarse matter and spirit energy. Everything is divided into a sevenness, which we call the sevenness of the matter structure. Structurally, the 7 levels are completely different, and thus also different in their value. So far, only 2 of these levels are known to Earth science, namely the 7th and the 6th, while they begin to explore the 5th because they have somehow become aware of it. So, the scientists of the Earth work completely correctly in their research because they explore the origin of life by regression. This means that they trace their research from the end product back to the origin, which corresponds to sound reasoning. Despite their right actions in this respect, however, the Earth scientists are extremely arrogant and still very poorly educated. For how else would it be that they call the 7th level of matter structure an atom or atomic level, although this designation only applies to the 1st level, which is absolutely indivisible in its value? The 2nd level known to Earth science, which in reality represents the 6th level, you call elementary particle or elementary particle level, while the 5th level is already known to them, but they are not yet able to analyze it. So they know 2 levels of the matter structure, the 2 last 6th and 7th levels, while they try to fathom a 3rd level i.e., the 5th, which they will call quark or similar, but they have no idea that there are in total 7 levels, and they still lack the knowledge about the other 4. And since these facts are unknown to them, how are they to understand that besides the atomic level, there is also a microatomic plane which permeates through all spiritual, energetic, and coarse material matter?
Aura Paranormal. Contact Report 083.
For 3 days I tried to get to Mr. Glanzman at about 2 o'clock in the morning to find out what it was all about and why he was so out of line and destroyed his contact. I also succeeded very well in my attempt, at least until I was in his immediate vicinity. But if I say this immediately, it does not mean that I was able to penetrate to his aura, which I strangely did not see as blue radiation, but as violet radiation, which shimmered somewhat blurred through an enormous force field, which I was not able to analyze. Nevertheless, I then tried to penetrate this force field or to break through it in order to reach the aura currents, after which I could then have drawn up an analysis from it, in order to fathom the state of things in the form of a force intensity analysis, in order then perhaps also to fetch a memory substitute from Mr. Glanzman's subconscious, which could certainly have provided me with information about what had happened with regard to the break-off of contact. However, all this failed me thoroughly, because with the penetration attempt into the force field unknown to me, I collided with such a strong resistance block that I was thrown away and lost consciousness for seconds.
Contact Report 085.
Through my daughter, I learned that when you approached Mr. Glanzman, you observed a violet aura color on him, which should have warned you.
You may want to say that I know that the violet color is one of the lowest developmental levels, so I should have paid attention to it.
Yes, that is so. You know that the violet color is indeed a very low level of evolution, and that only faith in something wrong can cause this aura-based coloring. You also know that various false teachings claim that this color protects against negative force fields, swinging waves, and other influences of negative form. You know very well how erroneous this is, and that you have already had several bad experiences with regard to various violet rays, for example in the ultraviolet range, etc.